Hey, ready, set, go. It's time to hit the mark. This that show you need to know about. We set ourselves apart. Sports talk at the pinnacle. We got all the knowledge, covering every level, helping these young men get to college. Got the coverage of a DB, vision of a QB coming at you like a DN. Let all of that sink in. Working in the weight room, we can't take no days off. Doing drills when they not looking, that's what make us stand out. Don't worry about how much time is left, we got it planned out. Execution, elite footwork, nasty when we running routes. Accuracy off the chain, we've been on it from the start. Reaching for the sky, hitting the bullseye, we on the mark.
What it do? You know what day it is. It's Wednesday. That means the On Your Mark show's in the building. We're live from the Fishbowl Radio Network. We up, man. It's Wednesday, hump day, man. Hope everybody had a great holiday. Man, we're deep up in it, man. My guy, Coach Jay on the road, is in the building as well. And to us, friend of the family, friend of the show, my guy, Coach Pointer from SAGU, Southwest Assemblies of God University, in the Waxahachie. He always gets on me about that. So I have to make sure I pronounce. He said, man, no. It's Waxahachie. It's not wax. You know what I'm saying? That he always corrects me on that. You know what I'm saying? What's up with you, man?
Man, I can't call it, man. How you doing, man?
Man, doing good, man.
Man. I'm doing good, man.
Man, listen. We left a lot on the table last time that we talked, so we wanted to bring you back on.
Right.
First of all, congratulations on a successful season. The last two seasons previously, you had a bowl with that as well.
Right.
But this season came up a little short. Just talk about the season that you guys had overall.
Man, when you lose 26 seniors, man, it's one of those things, like, it's kind of hard to duplicate that talent that you had with losing 26 seniors, and I mean 26 in some key spots.
Absolutely.
The running back that broke his own record, defensive pieces, even pieces that was on special teams. Man, it's just hard to duplicate that. Recruiting was a big factor. We had some guys in the pipeline, man, that didn't end up getting into school, so it was just one of those things, man, where, replacing the caliber of guys that we lost, very hard, man. So, that's why, like, now it's one of those things to where we have to get those guys this year no matter what.
Absolutely, man, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What you guys kind of look for, going into the war room, so to speak, as a staff, into recruiting in the off season. But first, you coach multiple positions, wide receivers, but special teams, I think, is a lost art that people really don't talk about a lot. Shout out to you and the special teams. Listen, they had one of the top special teams programs in the country this year, led their conference in special teams this year, kick returns, punt returns, all of that stuff, punt blocks, return for touchdowns. They capitalized on that. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And then, Coach Jay, we'll get to you about special teams. I know that Boogie had a big effect on special teams down at U of H this year and his mindset going into that. But first, Coach Pointer, talk about special teams a little bit and the importance it has, within the scheme of things.
Man, 2019, man, when I first got to SAGU, there was a coach by the name of Coach Sean Riley. And Sean Riley.
I do.
Yeah. That's my guy, man. He
Absolutely.
let me help on special teams, man, and I found a love for it because it is one of the pieces of football that doesn't get talked about at all. And so when I got the opportunity in 22 to be the special teams coordinator, man, I just took it upon myself to approach special teams just like I would approach anything else, and that's just a dog mentality. So if I'm not mistaken, 22-23 season, we had 5, 2 in the same game, same person, block, a punt, stuff like that. We didn't have any kick returns, but this year I was blessed to have a guy that came in with me in 2019 by the name of Dylan Alford. Dylan was a track star at SAGU. And, man, he just like, Coach, my last year, man, I think I want to do it. I was like, man, come on. I know what you got. And so big shout out to the guys that really took it upon themselves, man, to like, okay, I'm going to make this my own and I'm going to listen to Coach Pointer because I'd never give like myself It's all about them. It's not about me.
Absolutely.
I just put the scheme together and
Right.
then just let those guys go out and execute.
Right.
And that's what they did. So in the total of 2 seasons, we've had 10 block punts, 1, 2, 3, 4 for touchdowns, and then 2 kick returns this year. He was Special Teams Player of the Week twice this season, and he is first team all-conference kick returner. We're first in punts and first in punt returns in our conference. So big shout out to the Special Forces unit, man, and everything that they do. Man, I'm so proud of those guys. So honored to be able to coach those guys and be able to put them on a pedestal with the accolades that they get from doing what they do. But man, I love it. It swings the momentum of a game. And that's why I don't understand why it doesn't get mentioned or anything like that, because you go block a punt for a touchdown, it just went up.
Right.
Or in some instances, you're about to get blanked where you don't score any points at all,
right.
but you block a punt for a touchdown, which that happened this year.
Right.
We was playing Ottawa, didn't have any points, blocked a punt for a touchdown, and we kicked the field goal. So yeah, we lost the game, but we was on the verge of having no points and ended up with 10.
Right.
So, and it was special teams. So, big shout out to those guys, man. But it's very important. It's very important. Very important.
Now, what goes into the mindset of those guys? As you talked about the guy being a track star, he had to really get his mind and wrap around it because, returning kicks, returning punts, Deion Sanders said it when he was playing that he wished everybody would kind of lay down where he could just see the field. You have to have a special kind of craziness to get into that. You know what I'm saying? When the bullets are flying, you have to be ready to go. It's usually 1 or 2 moves. You don't really have a lot of time to do a lot of dancing. So talk about that mindset that those guys have.
So it does take a special type of person to be back there on punt return and kick return. 22 season, I had a guy named Jalen Moss back there, and he was Mr. Reliable. Never dropped. The only one, he had one drop, and that's because somebody bumped into him
Right.
when he was catching the ball.
Right.
But you have to have those guys that are reliable. Now, with Dylan, he was ready for it. But I had to show him on the kick returns where the hole is.
Right.
And just trust it.
Right.
No dancing, just hit it.
Right.
I got one return. I'll let everybody in on my secret. It's all good. I got one return called the door.
Right.
And when blocked up right, so, okay, what happens when you go to Walmart or Target? When you step, what does the door do?
It opens.
But then as soon as you get through the door, it what?
Closes.
You got to hit it.
You got to hit that window.
You got to hit it.
Right.
And if everybody do their blocking assignments, it's open every time.
Right.
We came back and watched film on a Sunday, and it was blocked up so good, he had 3 holes. But everybody did their job.
Right.
And that's the part of it. Now, on punt return, it all depends on where we're on the field.
Right.
Because I think I had three or four roughing the kicker penalties this year because I'm so aggressive. But I want that for our offense. I want to block that punt to get it back to our offense. I'm very unselfish when it comes to that, but I'm such a dog when it comes to let's go get it.
Right.
Coach Ellis had to get on the headset and be like, hey. Set up a return this time, But Dylan knows I'll tell him either just fair catch it or it's up on you.
Right.
Because this is how we operate.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, up, down, catch, either fair, catch, and go.
Right.
Find it.
Right.
I'm always have at least the corners and the guy that's and I have one back. So I'll always have 3 guys.
Yeah.
They're gonna block. One guy's gonna get the long snapper and push him a certain way, and we either going to the middle or we're going to the right.
Right.
So it just takes somebody who's gonna listen.
Right.
And understand okay, because when we go back and watch film, dang, coach, I should have listened. Yeah. I really do this.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so it's a lost art. I mean, if I go back and look, I think the guy from the Giants there's one guy from the Giants that's African American,
right,
special teams coordinator,
right,
but I don't know too many,
right,
and that was another reason why like I wanted to do it, because it's like, okay, I want to show like we don't have to just coach like receivers or linebackers or anything like that, which I mean I can do all that too.
absolutely.
But this right here, oh yeah, for sure.
Right,
for sure.
right.
No doubt.
Well, I think it's a lost art, and that's why I wanted to really get, to have you dive into it and dive into the scheme part of it, which I think was very important. You kind of gave some nuggets there that people really don't pay attention to.
Nah, they
of
don't.
course, they see the late field goal, they see the block punt, but there's execution and X and O's that really go into this.
Oh yeah, like you have to watch film and find out where's the weak link
Right.
on the line. Like, okay, so if the two guards on side of the long snapper are smaller guys and weak, I'm putting at least 4 in the middle to rush.
Right.
Now, if it's the tackles, then I want my big, strong outside guy to run wide to pull that guy, and I got somebody coming.
Right.
Now, if they got a 3-man shield, if you got a 2-man shield, you in trouble. If you got a 1-man shield, you definitely in trouble.
Right.
But some teams won't have. Man, I'm finna drop a nugget too. Most teams with their 3-man shield have offensive linemen there because they feel like they can absorb the hit.
Absolutely.
But you give me a big outside linebacker or a good DN that can run.
Right.
Because after the ball is kicked, the middle guy goes here, the 2 outside guys go this way, just in case a guy breaks. So we got coverage, but I need somebody fast.
Right.
And big and strong that can absorb it as well.
Right.
Then a couple of fakes, you know what I'm saying? I got a couple of fakes in there that I executed last year for first downs and stuff like that. Man, I be in my bag when it come with it, man, for real.
Absolutely, man, and that's why I wanted to talk about that today. We didn't get to it the last time you were here, but things like that, they can sway momentum in a game.
Oh yeah,
field position is key.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and all of those things go into it. But the mindset of the player and the team and the coach, you pour into those guys as well.
Yeah, and I want to shout out, and these are the people who don't get any recognition.
Right.
The long snapper and the punter.
Right.
Riggin Basket and Ryan Lewis. Ryan Lewis made honorable mention, but he said he already knew he wasn't going to get it.
Right.
But, dude, I'm talking about field position.
Right.
That dude punt that ball, man.
Absolutely.
And I mean, from a little small town, I think it's called D. Hannis or something like that. Sorry, Ryan, if I chopped it up, my bad. But my long snapper is elite.
Right.
As far as the time from snapping to the punter is very elite.
Right.
And that's the operation time is very, very important.
Right.
And so then on the field goal side, he's the snapper for field goal and Ryan is the holder.
Right.
So getting the ball here, he taps on the ground, boom, boom, getting the ball here, setting it down, spinning it, making sure laces are out, very important operation time. But those two guys, Riggin Basket and Ryan Lewis, and our kicker this year, Jonna Osborne, very important pieces to the whole special forces. Cause they gonna get on me when I say that. Special forces unit, very important. Very
Absolutely.
important.
Now, Coach Jay, we're talking about special teams right now, and I know that we've talked about this in passing, but Boogie had his chance to get on special teams this year and had some key blocks, and was part of a couple of big returns and key possessions on the special teams. Talk about some of the things that he shared with you this year on special teams and how he contributed this year for Houston.
Well, most importantly, Matt, the key was he wanted to be involved in any aspect that was going to help the team win. And they kind of used him because of, his ability to catch the ball and his ability to run his space as a short field man. So if they kicked it short, then they wouldn't realize they have a dangerous person that they're kicking it short to. But the blocking, that just goes back to his many years of playing running back and understanding that, to be on the field as a running back, you got to block. And, he's smart enough to kind of twist his body to put it in different ways to be able to, affect those blocks. Me being, Coach Dad, and I know KP seen it, I know you've seen it. I'm livid when I see him, miss a block, and then we talk about it. He's like, well, Dad, it's the way they're trying to get us to block. It's certain blocks that we have to do, and just sometimes I can't put myself in position to do it. I'm like, well, man, just block, shoot. Forget all that, extra stuff, just, block. But I get it after the fact. But, man, special teams are very, very important. And KP gave me a great idea to start acknowledging special teams across the country. So shout out to my little bro for that. But, man, special teams, we've seen it, how it can change the momentum, change the direction of a game, win, lose, all of that stuff, like really, really goes with special teams. And, if done right, like my little bro, it's amazing. Listen, anybody that's out there listening, coaches, colleges, trust me, if you want to learn, like high school coaches, if you really, really want to learn the sauce, get at my little bro. Trust me, he got you right. Trust me.
And that's I'm different. And I tell all my players, and this was even any position that I coach, I'm not on the field. I don't see what you see. But it's an on-field adjustment. Mm-hmm. Make the adjustment. Make sure it's right. Like, I keep a whiteboard on the sideline at all times. So, like, with Boog, where they want us to block a certain way, yes, I do, but at the same time, long as you get your guy, I'm not tripping.
Right.
Now, you miss your guy, then, you know what I'm saying, we're going to talk about it. But don't be like, well, Coach, you told me. No, make the on-field adjustment because you're on the field. I'm not.
Right.
I'm going to give you everything that you need to succeed, but at the same time, if you're on the field and you feel like you got to scoot in a little bit to make sure you get your guy, I'm not tripping about that. Some coaches are a stickler about the small. No, no. Because I don't want you thinking. I want you moving fast. Because if you're moving fast, you're going to execute. But if you're out there thinking, you're not going to execute. Step slow, and you'll get hurt.
Right. Well, I mean, all of those things come into it. But you know what? A lot of your best athletes are always on the special teams. And that, when you move up in levels, you get those best athletes on special teams. That's why we're talking about this today, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. I know that you're heavy on special teams, and Coach Jay talks about this as well. When they transition from the high school level to the collegiate level, and even if in the professionals, some of your best athletes are going to be on those special teams. That's how you make your sauce. That's how you get in the door sometimes. That's where you earn your playing time, plays on special teams. And that's a lost art and something that, a lot of times kids, man, I didn't play special teams in high school. Why should I do it in college? Could be your way to get on the field early. Show that athleticism and playmaker ability in that short spurt can get you some playing time right on the field.
I had guys come to me and ask me about special teams, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, it's nothing against you, but like you don't fit what I'm looking for.
Right
now, I can afford to do that on my level,
right?
On the NAIA level,
right?
But D1 level, if you're a starter on defense or whatever,
you playing,
right? You finna run down on kickoff. Probably get you a swig for during the TV timeout,
right?
And you on the field,
right?
Sam Williams for the Cowboys. Love him.
Right.
Love him because he's that guy. They even had him as a gunner, but he's a linebacker. Mm-hmm. But that's how in tune he is. Big shout out to Bones, Coach Bones. Like he makes special teams fun, a fun environment. Because I watched the documentary when he was with the Rams. Like, he makes it fun.
Right.
I don't have the luxury to do all that because I don't have the time because I'm special teams coordinator, receiver coach, recruiting coordinator.
Right.
But I try my best to do it on the field. But please, do not shy away from special teams.
Absolutely.
I had one guy who did not come off the field. Punt return, kickoff return, and field goal. He even threw two 2-point conversions on swinging gate this year.
Right.
But he never came off the field. But he would be like, because he played DN and outside linebacker, Coach, I need one. I had somebody come in and sub for him.
Right.
But then if they messed up, my bad, Coach. But I I'd rather you be fresh on defense.
Right.
I mean, I can cover up that one person.
Absolutely.
You know, but please do not shy away from special teams. When they call for it, run out there, get on the coach's nerve. That's how you make the plane trip, the bus trip. That's how you are on the team and seen on TV at the big time or at NAIA. Like, we have our own YouTube network channel.
Absolutely.
That's how you get on special teams.
Right.
Do not shy away from it. Please get on special teams.
Now, Coach, we had a question from one of our viewers. Do you run specific plays? And I think you talked about this already. Running certain plays for certain situations. Usually the play calls are situational. For punt and punt return, down and distance, kick return, it depends on what the score is and, how far you're down and things like that.
Yeah.
Field goal, it's the, field position,
Right.
could be the wind direction,
Right.
Weather conditions, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Talk about how you try to get that, right play call in that particular time.
So I go through like a Rain Man situation where I talk to myself a little bit. Before the game, I come out, I look at the field conditions, especially if we're not on turf, and I talk to my guys, my holder, my snapper, my kicker, and I get their information and I just put it in here, and then I just go through my little spiel with myself and see how we're going to do it. If we're ever bagged up on punt, then of course my main goal is to protect my punter, and so we'll have our front line. We'll still have our gunners outside, but instead of a 3-man shield, I'll go to a 1-man shield and put 2 guys 1 yard behind the tackles.
Right.
So then we have maximum, and then we go foot to foot instead of like 2-yard splits, and have those guys to make sure they don't go until they hear the thud.
Right.
Once they hear the thud that the ball is kicked, the only one that gets to go are the gunners and the long snapper.
Right.
Everybody else has to squeeze in, make sure that that punt is not blocked. So now if we're out in the field, I'm looking for down and distance. If it's 3rd or 4th and 2, oh yeah, we running diesel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm finna fake and we finna get that first down.
Right.
I always talk to my head coach first to make sure it's, but if we're inside the 40 going, oh yeah, we finna run diesel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now punt return is a field thing. During the week, I have my stopwatch when I watch film to see the operation time. If it's over 2 seconds from snap to that guy,
right,
you're in trouble.
Right.
We're going to get it. Right. Now, guys might get bumped, but I have a thing, man, I'm giving out these nuggets, boy, I'm telling you. So I have a thing called drive-by so you won't hit the punter. So once you get close, you just stick your hand out like this and just keep going by.
Right.
But if you're in the right spot, boom. Matter of fact, on one of my highlights when we played Wayland Baptist, shout out to Quay Mitchell, man. Like they call him Bear because he's so big, but he did it just so perfect. Just boom, just stick your hand out and just drop, just run by him.
Right.
Block, But then if we want to set up a return and, I see that those guys don't get downfield enough, I'll only send 4 and everybody else will come back and block. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, it's a field thing for me. Now, kickoff return, I'm trying to return it every time. So I got 5 or 6 different kickoff returns, mm-hmm. And I can go either way. So, it's on them. It's on the guys.
Absolutely. Well, playmakers make plays.
Exactly.
And it's obvious that, you guys have been doing that. Shout out to everybody at SAGU on those special teams. Top in the conference this year and in the nation. So, that's why I wanted to bring that up, and we wanted to come back and, get over that. But let's flip the script a little bit, change up. Let's talk a little bit of recruiting. Now this is starting to head to the off season. Yeah. We're in bowl season just about collegiately. So now the recruiting aspect is about to open up. You know what I'm saying? So you being a recruiting coordinator, you have a heavy hand in looking at different things that you guys need. Talk about that a little bit and what you guys kind of look for, because now you're going to have some more time to get to these games. We got playoffs in Texas and around the country. You guys got out to some junior colleges a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
What do you guys talk about as a staff when it goes to recruiting?
Where is the need? When you have a running back that sets a record one year and then breaks his record again the next year, then obviously the O-line is doing their job.
Right.
We didn't have that luxury this year. So, like, my main focus now is making sure that we have the right pieces to the puzzle on the O-line. Is that some transfer guys? You know, is it a high school guy? You know, because my first year there and the D-line that I took over were all high school guys, no transfers.
Right.
So Coach Wright, it can happen.
Right.
You know, but we want to get back to getting some transfer guys in, and then let's go back with our high schools. We never want to shy away from, you know, our high school. Texas high school football, sorry if anybody's from any other state, but I'm sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. Texas high school football is the best. And so going to the right places and finding the right fit. Christian schools as well. You look at Jason Witten finna play for a state championship. I think
Liberty
it's this
Christian.
weekend.
Yeah.
Liberty Christian. You look at Dallas Christian. Like, those guys play football just like anybody else.
Right.
It's not a Highland Park. It's not a Alito, but look at the pedigree. It's right there. So, yeah, we want to go get those guys too. We don't shy away from it. We even want to go down to the small Italy's and Milford guys, 6-man football. You look at Leighton Vander Esch, who played 9-man football. Well, that's why he's so good at linebacker, because he played in space.
Right.
So it's just like, we don't discriminate. We don't shy away from it doesn't matter 1A, 2A. There is a transition that those smaller schools have to come when they get to SAGU. You know, we had some guys leave this past season because once they got there, it had their head spinning.
Right.
Just, it's a big difference. It's
Absolutely.
it's college football.
It's college football.
So, like I tell the guys that come on a recruiting trip, if you come back, if your body looks the same way now when you report, you're not ready for college football.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And NAIA ball kind of gets like, it's football at the end of the day.
Right.
We work out just like everybody else do. We have training camp, OTA, whatever you want to call it. We do all that. We prepare just like anybody else. So anybody who not, because it's NAIA, it's college football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we play on Saturdays like every other college team.
Right.
So the work is there. And just like I say, man, like we are pounding at the table to get the guys in to get back to the prominence that we have been before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Coach Jay, you are very, very, I would say, I guess you handle it in a certain way when you're talking to your parents and your kids about getting yourself prepared. I thought Coach Pointer brought up a great point when it comes to getting yourself ready to go to the next level. But if you hadn't changed, I thought that was a great point. If you hadn't changed your body or changed your workout, or you don't have the work ethic coming into college, it's hard to be successful. Of course, the recruiting blueprint, Common Sense Guide to Recruiting's out as well. You talk about this in the book. Touch on that a little bit.
Man, that's very, very important, what he said. And this is something that, all the kids that I train, my college guys, they will tell you, this is my conversation, even during Christmas break. If you come home for Christmas break and you chill and you relax and you don't change your body going back in the spring, you already dug yourself a hole. The key is to stay competitive. Just the old saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So you should be always ready to make an impact, because somebody is coming for your spot. If you don't have a spot, somebody's coming to send you home. If you have a spot, somebody's coming forward. So the most important thing, parents and young athletes, collegiate athletes as well, a lot of times we complain about stuff that we're not getting the advances and, all of that. But when you look in the mirror, those 2 days, those 3 days, man, I just want to chill. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's why you're not getting what you think you should get, because you're not putting yourself in position to stay ready. And that's so important that, guys really understand that you have to be in shape. Talking to, my son the other day, he's like, Dad, I'm going to take a week off just to let my body heal, then we back on it. So as soon as you come back, let's get it, and that's the mindset, because that's what, people used to always be like, man, y'all train year round. I'm like, yeah, we train a lot, but it's the muscle memory. We take breaks when we need to, but you got to get them accustomed to doing it early in life so it's not a chore later on. So he's used to it. That's why it's not a big deal to him to constantly do it. So he understands rest now and then let's go again, because he wants to go into the spring better than what he was leaving the season. And that takes a special mindset and a lot of discipline to do that. So it's very important, especially if you want to be that guy that's not a practice team player. You want to be a guy that wants to get on the field. You got to be ready. You got to be in shape.
Absolutely. It's not just about training year round, like you said. It's training different things. I can say this because I've been, in those training sessions and been around you for a while. You don't just train the same thing every time. It's not just about running sprints. It's not just about running heels or running drills. You have to hit. It's just like when you go to the gym. You have to hit those body parts every time. You can't go in and just work arms every day. You can't go in and work chest every day. You got to hit each body part, each situation. On the special teams, you running down, that's a quick 10 seconds. You don't have time to think about it, but your body has to be used to those type of movements. And Coach Jay, you really hone in on those things each session that you have.
You have to be well-rounded. You have to be well-rounded in the off season. It's not just about the pretty muscles. And when I say get ready, I mean the mental part, the physical part, everything. I mean just the whole nine, the brain. How do you offset and decompress from everything that happened, during the season? You got to get rid of that so you can start mentally fresh. Your body is going to do what the mind tells it. So if your mind is in a bad headspace, your body is not going to act right. So from decompression to understanding what to do with your body is so important in the off season so that you can go back refreshed. But it is not on the coaches to constantly remind you. Collegiately, they're not going to do it. You're either going to come back in shape or you're not. So whether that's, winter break, summer break, if you come and you're not ready, even if they don't say it, they're going to see it. And it's just a matter of time before it shows. And once it shows, them notes, and Coach KP will tell you, when they putting them notes out on who's who and who's not ready, that's going to go a long way.
Long way. And that's, I tell all my players, especially when it comes to like Thanksgiving, Christmas, just like Boog, unplug for a week. Unplug for a week, get some rest, because a dog like that, when Pops make it back and that week is over with, it's on.
Right.
I know Boog.
Right.
And with the whatever he told his daddy the other day that he want to get back to, it's on.
Right.
But you have to have it. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not a mentality. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
And it has to be like that all of the time. Your body will let you know when you need to chill out.
Absolutely.
It will let you know. But you can't take the whole Christmas break off and then think you finna come back.
Yeah.
And we finna get to it. No. And like you said with special teams.
Right.
I tell my kickoff guys, on your break, run 30s. Because the speed zone is from 30 to 30.
Right.
So once you get used to doing that, then when you come back and the season start, we see a better kickoff unit.
Right. Absolutely.
Interesting fact. That is where the 40 was created for special teams. The 40 time was created. If you don't believe me, look it up.
Yep,
the 40 was created because the coach who invented it wanted to see how fast guys could get downfield for 40 yards to cover kickoff.
Absolutely, and that's a nugget that I read that somewhere before. That's true because everything is in bursts. You know what I mean? You have to know how fast you are and how quick you move, and they're measuring that special team. I don't think I've ever seen a special team coach that don't have a stop clock in his stopwatch in his hand.
I have one on my nigga.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Like I come out for pregame, looking at the other team what their operation time is. The only team that got me was Howard Payne. Shout out to Howard Payne, man.
Right.
Like, they did like a dummy because I'm like, oh, he 2? When we get in the game, oh, that thing was you know what I'm saying? Because they found out who I was.
Right.
But like everybody else, like I'm looking at, okay, then I'm going telling my guys that's going to block, hey, bro, we got action.
Right.
We got action today. Yeah,
Right.
It's going
Right.
down.
Right.
Going down. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good for that coaching staff because you have to know your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you don't go into it with some kind of idea of what they're going to do well and what they don't do well, then you kind of lost already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. So
now back on the recruiting trail for you guys. You talked about looking at need and looking at things. So you comparing notes from the season, and then you go out and you look at those things. When you step on a high school field on a Friday night, tell me some of the things that you're looking for. You can talk position specific, but share some of that because this is some of the things that college coaches are going to be looking for when they step on the field and they see these guys performing on Friday nights.
So as a recruiting coordinator, I get the blessing of I can recruit outside of my position because I'm the recruiting coordinator.
Right.
But what I do is I make sure once I land a guy, I pass it off to the position coach. I don't want that guy thinking or that young man thinking that it's about me. No, you need to have a relationship with your coach. Right. Now, if you pass by my office and you stop by and say what's up or whatever, that's fine. But I don't need you coming into my office when you need to be talking to your position coach.
Right.
So I make sure I pass it off. Now, when I step on the field on Friday night, I'm looking for that dog. I'm looking for that dog. I'm looking for the guy that's keeping the sideline up, that's not just sitting back there talking, sitting on the tables in the water cooler and all that type of stuff. I'm looking for that guy that's keeping the team up. He's in every huddle. If he's playing or not, he's in every huddle, breaking it down, all that type of stuff. And then that guy on the field that doesn't come off the field. That's the type of guy that I want, that guy that does not come off the field. Now, body types, type of stuff like that, guys are not built like or not made up like we were back in the day.
Right.
Back in the day, you didn't hear anything about ACLs and all that type of stuff because we rode bicycles.
Right.
We jumped fences.
Right.
We climbed trees. We walked to where we wanted to go. We didn't have to have a ride or anything like that. It's not like that anymore. You didn't really just have to work out because that was a workout. We get up in the morning, clean, we gone.
Hooping,
all that.
Right.
So it's a big difference now. So guys are not big and bodies don't fill out like they used to unless parents are 6'4", 6'5", and all that type of stuff like that. So like at the basketball game last night, somebody was asking about, hey, what does Duncanville look like? Well, they don't have the height anymore like they used to, but the guys they got are good. You don't see that 6'6", not around here anymore.
Right.
Because it's just not like that. But I want that dog. If I can get that dog on our football team, then he gonna come in as a freshman and make everybody else better.
Right.
Especially that whole freshman class.
Right.
Because hey, coach, when we working out, or he be that one after practice staying and running gases just because. That's the type of guy that I want. And also, once I check with that recruiting coordinator for that high school, if that GPA is where it's at, then I know I don't have to worry about him in the classroom.
Absolutely.
That's one of my biggest things. If I don't have to worry about you in the classroom, hey, man, me and you A1.
Right.
But if I got to get an email and all this because this one dropped below 12, like, hey, man,
Right. Right. Well, that it's not going to happen if you don't have that, taken care of. I forgot whether it was on Twitter or Facebook or something. Somebody kind of made a comment where, a lot of these guys are highly recruited. When we get to talking to the grades, it all falls apart and they end up being at the house and not playing at all. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just not it's just not athlete, it's student athlete. And that's one thing that you try to stress all the time. Even when, I send you kids, the first thing he says is, what's his GPA? What's his ACT? I promise every time we talk about a kid, he always wants to know that. Even after he may have liked it or whatever, he wants to reach out to him. That's the first thing he says is, what's his GPA and what's his ACT score? Talk about that a little bit.
Thing about it is, man, if you're reaching out to me with a kid, ain't no shadow of a doubt he can play football.
Right.
But can he operate in the classroom?
Right.
Because like I tell the guys, you can't do one without the other.
Right.
If you don't pass, it's still no pass, no play.
Right.
There's no way around that. Now you get to a school like us, if you start missing chapel, you on chapel probation, no play.
Right.
You cannot play.
Absolutely.
So you sending me film, anybody that's sending me film 9 times out of 10, this kid can play.
Right.
What is grades like?
Right.
You know, is he a high GPA kid? Is he a 3.8 kid? All that, and then on top of that, with that 3.8, he finna get academic money.
Right.
If he a full Pell kid, got a 3.8 GPA, ACT score, and all that type of stuff, it really don't even matter what football gonna give him.
Right.
Because he finna break the bank on just because he a full Pell kid, got a high GPA, academic money, and then we come on the back end and just chunk him something.
Right.
He probably going to school for a little or nothing.
Yeah. Coach Jay, we talk about this leverage all the time academically. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? I see some preferred walk-on scholarships or preferred walk-on O's and offers going out. That kid's got some grades in there with that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about that. And Coach Jay, you talk about that leverage all the time. That's also in the recruiting blueprint. Speak on that just a little bit before we start talking high school ball.
Gotcha.
Parents, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, the recruiting blueprint, a common sense approach to recruiting. It's all about common sense. When you break it down and make it make sense, you'll see the world will open up to what you guys want for your athletes. Leverage. Mark, you said that perfect thing. Leverage. And a lot of kids fail to realize your biggest leverage is always going to be your grades. For some reason, even in 2023, kids think, I just want to play ball. Wrong. Unless you're talking about going pro, you have to go to class. If you're doing anything outside of high school, sports, in college, you have to go to class. There is no such thing as I'm going to college just to play ball.
Right.
That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. Now, many years ago, you had situations for your high-profile athletes where they can get away with it because, grades tampering and all of that nonsense, but that probably doesn't happen anymore. And if it does, you better be super elite, and it's setting you up for failure anyway.
Right.
So your best attribute is, number one, guard your grades like it's your credit score, and make sure that those things are straight. Because if you don't, those weaknesses you have in high school, they're only going to be higher and higher and higher when you get to college, because the world is going to open up. You're going to have so many different things to do, and you're going to fail, and you're going to make a mistake. There are guys right now, 4 stars, 5 stars, in college right now as we speak, that are struggling grade-wise and can't touch the field, but their excuse is they hating on you. No, you're hating on yourself. Grades are very important. And then understanding, going back to what KP said earlier, parents, the same thing he said, what he's looking for. When you're at your kid's game, you should be looking at the same thing. What are they doing on the sideline? You should be studying not just what they're doing on the field. Are they engaging? Are they that kid that's standoffish? Don't make excuses for them. Say, hey, why are you doing that? Because guess what? A coach like KP and other coaches are there watching. It's those little things that you miss that your kids will not get looked at. And you're saying, well, they're playing. Okay, but what are they doing on the sideline? Those are the little things. You got to remember, it's a big pond. It's a lot of fish. They don't need your kids. So understand that. What is your leverage? You got to be well-rounded in all aspects of the game to be able to play at the next level. So make sure you guys understand grades. Am I a team player? Am I that workhorse? Am I a dog? All of those things are going to help you get to the money, period.
Absolutely. And, we're on the sidelines almost every week, and we talk about these things, and we're looking at body language and all of those type of things. Every week. And that's a constant conversation. So be careful, what you're doing, because there's always some eyes. Here in this area, it's always eyes on the sideline every week. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a ton of kids. Honestly, parents, it's a ton of kids. Mark can tell you, KP, it's a ton of kids we see every week, and we like, that kid ain't recruitable.
Right.
That kid ain't recruitable.
Right.
And most of them are starters.
Right.
They don't understand, man. And
yeah.
just like Coach Jay said, you have to be a phenomenal athlete to where your grades does not come into effect for you to make it big.
Right.
But also, by you being that phenomenal athlete, your journey to where you're where you're trying to go is gonna be so difficult.
Right.
Kevontae Turpin, Tyreek Hill.
Absolutely.
Look at all the stuff that they had to go through to get there.
Right.
But if they would have just did what they supposed to do,
Right.
look how much money they missed out on.
Right.
But just like I say, and I'm a firm believer, God has a plan for everybody.
Right.
And everybody's path is different. But I also believe if you take care of business on the front end, you won't have to go through all those struggles on the back end.
Right.
But there's a reward at the end of the rainbow all the time.
But now those two guys are the exception athletically.
That's why I say you got to be special.
Exactly. You took the words out. You got to be special. We talk about this all the time. You got to be special at what you do. They are.
Very special.
At the high-end elite level of being special at what they do.
Because they look past that and be like, oh, there's talent.
There's something there.
But then it's
you can work with it.
TCU, XFL,
right?
USFL,
right?
Cowboys,
right?
OSU. I forgot the school that he
was at a JUCO.
Tyreek Hill. He was at
a JUCO.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
But just think if those 4 years at TCU went to class. I don't know the man's story.
Absolutely.
I just know that's where it started.
Right.
And where he ended, he got blessed.
Right.
Because he had to humble himself.
Yeah.
And he had to go through some things to get to where he at now. I love the kid.
Absolutely.
I love his story. I hope somebody, Coach Jay, with your book, you might need to try to get on that and make that story down.
Listen, man. Also, the work ethic that goes with that as well. I think both of those guys knew that they had to continue to grind.
Yeah.
There's a mental part that goes along with that. Like you said before, you know, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
you know,
it's lifestyle.
Sometimes some of what those two guys have, they wake up out of bed with, but it's nurtured through hard work and dedication and the competitive drive to be elite. All goes hand in hand.
Yep.
But before we get out of here, we're running out of time here. I want to get you guys both thoughts on this
real quick.
You were at the game down in San Antonio.
Hey.
Coach Jay was watching as well. I was watching on the sideline. This was a big game. We talked about this last week. We got a few minutes left real quick. I know you were in the house for DeSoto versus Willis. That was a big game. You got a chance to see Lagway up close. He was impressive. You know what I'm saying? But until that DeSoto offensive line took over and the dominant offensive line you win in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? Now the players on the outside still made plays, but those trenches told the story, and that was the difference in the game. Real quick, talk about that, and then Coach Jay, I'll go to you before we get out of here.
That first touchdown after DeSoto kicked that field goal, honestly, it was a missed tackle.
Right.
But
you can't miss on him, though.
You cannot miss.
Yeah.
You cannot miss. Now,
no doubt.
What I seen this year from DeSoto that I didn't see last year is, well, I take that back. I seen it last year, but it was more prominent this year. Adjustments.
Right.
Adjustments. I went out to watch them practice before, I think that was on a Monday or Tuesday, and I just seen scenarios that they were putting together. And then when I get to the game, I seen that same thing.
Executed.
It's like, okay, let's see what they got. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
My baby boy, 10 years old, was like, Daddy, why they keep throwing swing routes? Why they keep throwing swing routes? I said, son, just watch.
Set up.
It's a setup.
Yeah.
It's a setup. And then next thing you know, number 1, 27, 8, 5, 7.
Right. That was it.
But hey, number 7 for Willis, Bishop.
Yeah, he's special, isn't he?
Number 11.
You late to the party,
Jalen
man.
Mickens.
You late to the party. Bishop been that guy since Little League.
No doubt.
Number 11.
Jalen Mickens. Yeah.
Been that guy.
Both of those kids have been great.
Number 6.
No doubt.
Sophomore. I mean, he a junior.
Yeah.
Well, Stephon, I am from Waxahachie. I'm not from Houston, dude. So,
That's why you got me. That's why you got me.
Yes,
and
sir.
Marc.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, listen, man, it's been a great show. I appreciate Coach KP for tapping back in. You'll probably see him again before we get out. Coach J, be safe out there on the road and tap in with me later on this week, man. Listen, the On Your Mark shows every week right here from the Fishbowl Radio Network, live every Wednesday. Listen, tap into the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel as well. You'll see this episode later on this week. Holla at me, man. Listen, This week we got Byron Nelson at South Lake Carroll versus Allen. We got Sock and Lovejoy at Choctaw, and we got South Lake Carroll and Byron Nelson this week. Tap in, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at TCP Show.
Duncanville, Westfield.
Oh man, I'm not driving to Pflugerville. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying. I will be in Waco for the St. Thomas and Parish Episcopal game on Friday. Tap in with us next week.
This weekend too, right, Mark?
Absolutely, man. All that and more, man. Listen, tap in with me. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us here live from the Fishbowl Radio Network. Shout out to my guy, Minor Mike, who texts us out. Follow him on Instagram. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Let's get it.
Sir.
Hey, ready, set, go. It's time to hit the mark. This that show you need to know about. We set ourselves apart. Sports talk at the pinnacle. We got all the knowledge, covering every level, helping these young men get to college. Got the coverage of a DB, vision of a QB coming at you like a DN. Let all of that sink in. Working in the weight room, we make a stand. Execution, elite footwork, nasty when we running routes. Accuracy off the chain, we've been on it from the start. Reaching for the sky, hitting the bullseye, we on the mark.